The life you are living right now is the exact reality you secretly engineered. Your current bank account, your physical condition, and your level of respect are all physical manifestations of the internal code you run every single day. Most men walk through life believing they are simply reacting to an unpredictable world. They think they are victims of circumstance. The brutal truth is that your brain is a relentless execution machine, and it has successfully built the exact blueprint you handed to it. If your life feels like a cage, it is because your thoughts are acting as the architect of your own imprisonment. Today, we strip away the illusions. We are going to deconstruct the exact mechanics of how a thought becomes a physical fact. You will learn how to inject a new blueprint into your subconscious, forcing your mind to tear down your current limitations and construct the reality you actually demand. This is not about hoping for a better future. It is about engineering one. We must establish a foundational law of human psychology. You do not experience the world as it is. You experience the world as you are. Your mind is not a passive receiver of information. It is an active projector of your internal state. Throughout history, the most formidable minds have understood this single mechanism. The dominant idea held in the conscious mind is inevitably forced into physical reality by the subconscious. This is not a mystical concept, it is biological programming. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined event and a physical experience. If you constantly run simulations of failure, rejection, and poverty in your head, your brain will physically wire itself to seek out and create those exact conditions. It is obeying your most frequent commands. To change your external world, you must violently seize control of your internal projector. You have to stop letting society, anxiety, and past trauma select the film. When you deliberately install programs of capability, precision, and unshakable confidence, your brain has no choice but to adjust your behavior to make that new internal image a physical fact. You become exactly what you focus on. Creation requires isolation. You cannot rewrite the foundational code of your life while you are constantly distracted by the noise of the modern world. Your brain is currently overstimulated, constantly reacting to notifications, demands, and low-level stress. In this state of perpetual emergency, your mind can only focus on survival, never on expansion or deep strategy. You must build a silent forge. This requires finding a physical space and a dedicated time where you are entirely unreachable. You have to lower the volume of the external world until the only thing you can hear is the sound of your own intention. You cannot construct a skyscraper during an earthquake, and you cannot design a formidable life while your nervous system is in chaos. Stillness is not a luxury, it is a tactical requirement. When you finally quiet the body and mind, you bypass the critical, anxious part of your brain and gain direct access to the subconscious machinery. This silence is the blank canvas. It is the operating table where you will perform the psychological surgery necessary to cut out your old identity and stitch a new one into place. Once you have established silence, you must begin the simulation. You must project the exact life you intend to build onto the screen of your mind. But you cannot be a passive spectator, you must step into the projection. You are the architect and the executor. Visualize the specific details of your target reality. Vague desires produce vague, useless results. Do not just see the finish line, feel the weight of the work. See yourself making the hard decisions. How does a man with that level of success carry his shoulders? How does he speak to his enemies? How does he manage his time? You must run this mental rehearsal with such high definition that your heart rate actually changes. You are forcing your nervous system to experience a future that has not yet happened. This is not daydreaming for escapism. Escapism makes you weak. This is a targeted mental rehearsal designed to build neurological pathways before you even take physical action. By the time you step into the real arena, your brain will recognize the environment. You will not hesitate because you have already lived the victory 1,000 times in the dark. A vision in your head is volatile. It can vanish with a single distraction. You must lock it into physical reality. And the first step of materialization is the written word. But there is a specific syntax you must use to hack the subconscious. You cannot write, "I will be successful," or "I want to be strong." The future tense implies absence. It tells your brain that you do not have it yet. You must write your intention strictly in the present tense. I am a man of iron discipline. I command respect in every room I enter. You write the script as an established, undeniable physical fact. When you write I am, you bypass the waiting room of the future and drop the command directly into the present moment. You give your brain a direct order that it must reconcile immediately, taking a thought out of your head and carving it onto paper bridges, the gap between the invisible and the visible. It gives your intention a physical body. Reading these present tense commands tricks your neurological system into accepting them as current reality. It removes the distance between the desire and the execution, forcing your mind to close the gap. A single command is nothing but a whisper in a hurricane. Your mind has been programmed by decades of fear, doubt, and mediocrity. You cannot undo 20 years of bad code with 5 minutes of positive thinking. This is a war of attrition. To rewrite the deep software of your brain, you must rely on the brutal, unrelenting power of sheer repetition. You must read your present tense blueprint every single morning when you wake up, and every single night before you sleep. You carry it with you. At first, your conscious mind will reject it. It will feel like you're lying to yourself. It will feel arrogant and ridiculous. That resistance is normal. It is just the old programming fighting for its survival. Ignore the resistance and keep striking the hammer. Repetition breaks down the walls of the conscious mind and saturates the subconscious. It does not matter if you believe the words on day 1. By day 100, the constant exposure will physically alter your neural networks. You will wear down the old identity until the new truth is the only code left running in your head. As you force this new program into your mind, you will trigger a violent internal conflict known as cognitive dissonance. Your brain will look at your new commands, I am disciplined, I am successful, and then it will look at your current reality, which is chaotic and unfulfilled. The brain hates this contradiction. It creates a deep, uncomfortable psychological friction. When this friction hits, weak men surrender. Their rational mind tells them, look around, this is foolish, you are still at the bottom. They let the external evidence destroy their internal blueprint, but the strategist understands that cognitive dissonance is exactly what you want. It means the new programming is finally taking root and threatening the old order. You must use this dissonance as a weapon. Do not lower your vision to match your current reality. Force your current reality to rise and meet your vision. The brain will eventually resolve the conflict. If you hold the internal image with relentless, cold persistence, the mind will have no choice but to change your behavior and your environment to make the contradiction disappear. Reciting words like a robot will yield 0 results. The subconscious mind does not speak English, it speaks the language of raw emotion. A thought without emotion is an empty vessel. It has no power to penetrate the deep layers of your psychology. To make the new programming stick, you must attach a massive emotional payload to the logical command. When you read your blueprint, you must force your body to feel the physical sensations of that reality. Feel the weight of the achievement. Feel the quiet, cold pride of finally becoming the man you respect. Feel the absolute certainty in your chest. This elevated emotion acts as the glue that permanently bonds the new idea to your nervous system. Emotion is the energy that drives the machinery. When you combine a precise, laser-focused intention with a profound emotional intensity, you create an internal gravity that cannot be denied. You stop wishing for a different life and start physically vibrating at the frequency of your target. Your actions will automatically align with the intensity of the feeling you have manufactured. Internal mental architecture is useless without external execution. You cannot visualize yourself as a titan of industry and then spend your afternoon eating garbage and avoiding hard work. That creates a hypocritical divide that shatters your momentum. Your physical actions must become absolutely congruent with the psychological blueprint you are building in the dark. You must begin to act as if you do not need to make a massive, impossible leap on day 1, but you must make micro adjustments to your daily behavior. Ask yourself, how does the man in my blueprint walk? How does he manage his temper? How quickly does he make decisions? Start adopting the microscopic habits of your future self right now, today. This congruence sends the final, undeniable signal to your brain that the change is real. When your internal thoughts match your physical movements, the transformation accelerates violently. You stop pretending and start becoming. You strip away the old shell through daily disciplined action, proving to your own mind that the new blueprint is no longer a theory, it is the law. You are planting seeds in concrete. The process of reprogramming your reality takes time, and the modern mind is addicted to instant gratification. You will do the work for 30 days and look around, seeing no immediate change in your environment. This is the critical threshold where the masses abandon the mission. They demand proof before they offer loyalty. You must cultivate the discipline of the unseen. Just because the result has not broken the surface does not mean the roots are not growing deep underground. Doubt is the acid that corrodes the entire mechanism. Every time you panic and question the process, you dig up the seed to see if it is growing, effectively killing it in the process. Absolute faith is a tactical advantage. When there is zero evidence that your life is changing, you must double down on the internal blueprint. You trust the mechanics, you hold the line, you understand that physical reality is slow and heavy, and it takes time for it to bend to the will of your new psychological structure. Stay cold, stay focused, and outlast the delay. This is the anatomy of a complete psychological overhaul. It begins as a deliberate thought. Through brutal repetition and emotional intensity, that thought bypasses your defenses and becomes a subconscious belief. Once it becomes a belief, it is no longer something you have to actively think about. It simply becomes your default state of existence. When the belief solidifies, it alters your perception. You begin to see leverage and opportunities that were always there, but completely invisible to your old mindset. Your reactions become sharper, your decisions become ruthless and accurate. You stop chasing success because you have physically become the type of man who naturally generates it. The internal architecture has successfully reshaped the external world. The lie you told yourself, the blueprint you forced into your mind when you had nothing, has now become an undeniable physical fact. You are no longer dreaming, you are living inside the house you built in the dark. This is the ultimate power of the human mind. You do not have to accept the reality you were handed. You have the tools to tear it down and build it again. You're addicted to your own suffering simply because it is familiar. Human psychology is terrified of the unknown, even if that unknown is massive success. We prefer the certainty of a miserable, predictable life over the perceived danger of stepping into a new reality. You have been running the program of failure for so long that your body has grown dependent on the chemicals of stress and disappointment. When you begin to reprogram your mind, your nervous system will violently rebel. It will crave the old anxiety. It will try to drag you back to your baseline of mediocrity by manufacturing doubts, creating sudden exhaustion, or making you feel like a fraud. This is not a sign that the new blueprint is failing, it is a sign that the old identity is fighting for its life. Treat this resistance like a chemical withdrawal. You must starve the old addiction. When the urge to revert to your old cynical thought patterns hits, refuse to feed it. Force the mind to consume the new blueprint again. Endure the discomfort of feeling out of place in your own head. This temporary friction is the exact price of admission to the life you demand. You cannot build a new mind in a toxic environment. The people you currently surround yourself with are anchors to your old identity. They are comfortable with the version of you that fails because it validates their own lack of ambition. When you start changing your internal frequency, they will instantly sense the shift, and they will perceive your discipline as a direct threat. They will mock your new focus. They will call you obsessed, distant, or unrealistic. They will try to drag you back into the mud of complaining and reacting just to make themselves feel secure. If you allow their cynical voices into your silent forge, they will infect your blueprint before it ever has a chance to materialize. Cut the lifelines to these environments with absolute coldness. Protect your new programming violently. You must be willing to walk entirely alone for a season while your new reality takes root. Isolation is not a punishment. It is a tactical necessity. You are quarantining your mind from the contagion of average men. There comes a terrifying, beautiful moment when the old reality finally breaks. You wake up one morning, and the heavy anxiety that used to greet you is simply gone. The lie you have been repeating to yourself suddenly clicks into place. It no longer requires massive effort to believe you are capable. The belief has successfully downloaded into the deep architecture of your nervous system. You will notice your posture has changed without you thinking about it. You speak with a slower, heavier cadence. The things that used to trigger panic now barely register on your radar. This is your new baseline. You have successfully shifted the center of gravity in your mind. The internal software update is complete, and your physical body has aligned with the code. From this point forward, success is no longer a desperate struggle. It is your default setting. You stop trying to force the world to give you what you want, and you simply start taking it. You realize that the intense repetition and the dark hours of mental rehearsal were not a waste of time. You have literally built a new man from the inside out. As your internal reality shifts, you will be deeply tempted to look for applause. You will want the world to acknowledge the invisible work you have done before the physical results fully appear. You will want your peers to notice your new mindset. Seeking this validation is a fatal error that hands the power of your reality straight back to the spectators. If you need them to believe in your blueprint, you do not truly believe in it yourself. External validation is a cheap dopamine hit that distracts you from the actual work of building. The crowd is fickle. If you allow their praise to build you up, you give them the exact same power to destroy you when they inevitably withdraw their support. Operate in complete silence. Let your physical reality do the talking for you. The true architect does not need the approval of the pedestrians walking past his construction site. He only cares about the integrity of the steel. Keep your intentions locked in the dark, your results will eventually make all the noise required. Between the death of your old self and the physical manifestation of the new reality, there is a void. It is a period of profound emptiness where nothing seems to make sense. Your old habits and friendships no longer satisfy you. But the massive success you are engineering has not yet arrived on the physical plane. You are suspended in empty space. Weak men panic in this void. The silence is too loud for them. They rush back to their past traumas and old addictions just to feel something recognizable. They destroy months of psychological reprogramming simply because they cannot handle the discomfort of waiting for the physical world to catch up to their mental blueprint. Learn to sit motionless in the emptiness. The void is not a trap. It is the clearing of the old foundation. Stay cold and stay calm. The new structure is being built in this exact silence. Do not fill the space with cheap distractions. Hold your mental image with terrifying patience and trust the physics of the universe to organize the rest. Focus is not just the ability to pay attention, it is your primary defensive weapon. Every piece of media, every useless argument, and every digital notification is a direct attempt to hack your subconscious and steal your energy. A man who allows his mind to be pulled in 100 different directions will never materialize a single solid reality. His internal projector is constantly glitching, producing a chaotic, fragmented life. You cannot engineer a masterpiece if you keep stopping to look at the garbage on the street. Your attention is the finite currency that funds your future. If you spend it on outrage and trivial entertainment, you will bankrupt your potential. Become absolutely ruthless with what you allow into your mind. Guard your bandwidth like a fortress. Spend your cognitive currency only on thoughts, actions, and data that actively construct your target reality. When you calibrate your focus to a single devastating point, you cut through obstacles with the precision of a laser. You carry the ghost of your past failures into every new battle. You use your historical mistakes as concrete evidence that your new blueprint is impossible. This guilt is a self-imposed prison sentence. You are allowing a dead version of yourself to dictate the parameters of your current existence, effectively sabotaging the new code you are trying to run. You are judging a man who no longer exists. The version of you that failed was operating on a corrupted, weak program. Punishing your current, upgraded self for the blind actions of a flawed past identity is entirely illogical. It serves no strategic purpose other than feeding the ego's desire to feel miserable. Cut the cord to history, extract the tactical data from your past failures, and leave the emotional weight behind. True forgiveness of the self is not an act of emotional softness. It is the strategic release of unnecessary drag. Drop the dead weight. You have a new reality to build, and you need all of your energy for the present moment. When your conscious commands finally synchronize completely with your subconscious programming, the internal friction vanishes. This is when you experience a terrifying velocity. Things begin to materialize faster than you ever anticipated. Obstacles that would have taken years to dismantle suddenly dissolve in a matter of weeks. Opportunities that once seemed entirely impossible now present themselves on a daily basis. People treat you differently, respect you instantly, and offer you leverage because you are projecting an entirely different electromagnetic signature. You are no longer forcing the world is actively making space for your arrival. Do not shrink back from this speed. Many men self-sabotage at this exact moment because massive success feels unfamiliar and dangerous. Lean into the alignment. Do not apologize for the sudden expansion of your power. You engineered this exact outcome in the dark. Now step up, claim the territory, and own the results. True power never announces itself. The men who actually move the fabric of reality do not post about their daily affirmations or brag about their mindset routines. They are entirely consumed by the mechanics of execution. They understand that talking about the work tricks the brain into feeling the reward of actually doing the work. When you talk too much about your grand plans, you leak the vital energy required to build them. You trade the undeniable reality of success for the cheap, fleeting dopamine of telling people about your potential. This makes you a philosopher of action. Rather than an actual operator, you become a man of words entirely devoid of physical results. Keep your blueprint completely sealed. Build your empire in the shadows. Let the world underestimate you. Let them think you're average right up until the moment your reality is too massive to be ignored. Operate with the quiet, lethal efficiency of a man who knows exactly what he is building. We reach the final stage of psychological evolution. You have successfully moved from wishing to believing to knowing. Your internal reality is now as solid as concrete. You no longer need to violently force the positive thoughts. The architecture is completely self-sustaining. You have become the master of the forge. The external world no longer dictates your state of mind. If the market crashes, if a project fails, or if you lose everything tomorrow, you do not panic. You understand that physical assets are just byproducts. You possess the internal source code. You know you have the mental machinery to rebuild the entire empire by next Tuesday. You are an immutable force. You have realized the ultimate truth. Your life is nothing more than a physical reflection of your dominant thoughts. Guard your mind with lethal precision, direct your focus without mercy. Keep the internal image sharp, and reality will have no choice but to bend to your will for the rest of your life. The lie that you are a victim of circumstance ends today. You are the sole architect of your experience. The mind is not a storage unit for memories. It is a brutal, efficient tool for engineering reality. You now possess the exact mechanics to override your default programming. You understand the power of the present tense command, the absolute necessity of relentless repetition, and the discipline to hold your vision in the dark when the world shows you zero evidence. This is the end of living by accident. Take command of the forge. Write the script of the man you intend to be, and force your body to execute it until the universe complies. If this transmission rewired the way you view your own potential, subscribe to the channel. We are assembling a collective of men who refuse to be shaped by the world, choosing instead to shape the world themselves. Do not let this just be another video you consume. Take out a piece of paper and write the first line of your new reality right now.